It's 2026. If you're not getting it. I honestly deleted social media a couple months ago. I had to. I was addicted. I'm just going to be honest with you. But maybe a lot of you are seeing videos like that. It usually comes up this time of the year and people are doing these reels of their year and such. And maybe you feel like you didn't do enough. You didn't do the right thing. Maybe you know there were things that you were supposed to do and you didn't do them. Hi, how are you? I'm human. I'm imperfect. But I also did many great things this year that I'm proud of. If I actually look back and reflect, and I try to take notes of things so I can remember them too, because sometimes it slips our minds. But let me share with you something. Let me share with you a couple of things actually that I've been really proud of myself for in the past couple of years. And mind you, my years have been looking like this. I'm slipping and falling and getting right back up. And sometimes it takes me a while to get back up, even a week. The thing is that I also want to share in this video before I even get to what I accomplished, achieved, and what I'm really proud of myself for is I have different obstacles than people. We all have different obstacles in each other, and I just want to share mine and put my heart on my sleeve. I grew up being called stupid, dumb, being made to feel left out a lot. When I was younger, I was like a alternative dressing, like emo, whatever they call it. Okay, I loved it. When I see kids that are dressed like that, I still love it. Okay, I eat it up every single time. But anyways, I was always made to feel like a black sheep in every space, whether or not people intended to. Maybe they thought I could handle it. I don't know. But then I was also always called overly sensitive. Um, if I dressed how everyone else dressed, I was made fun of that. If I dressed differently, I was made like I couldn't. There was no right when you were being me, and that's genuinely, it's something that stays with you. A lot of things stay with you. Like people talk about your childhood, it really does stay with you because a lot of the times I can find myself getting in my head like, oh, you're an outsider. You're so different than everyone here. Like not in a way where like I'm so much better than everyone else, but I'm such a freak, and no one would ever want to be around someone like me. And a lot of that stems from the fact too, when I was younger, I had to step up a lot and like from a very young age, in many ways. And I won't get too into detail with that in this video, but I was often called an old soul. Like older people would always be chatting to me. I didn't really have a easy time fitting with people that are younger. And a lot of the times I was teased or made fun of for my appearance or like literally like my ears, the way I did my makeup, just anything I did, the way I walked, the way I breathed. I was annoying to people. And I was very shy and timid and quiet at the time. I wouldn't say timid or quiet or shy, but I would say I'm very reserved until I'm not. If I'm comfortable, I'm not quiet. So you know what I mean? Like I don't always feel like the space needs to be filled with sound. But if I'm with someone that I absolutely love, oh, I am so actively listening and I am so actively participating. Okay. But I'm prefacing with all this because maybe you have been made to feel as though you're a freak in your life. Maybe you're still carrying that with you, even though no one's doing that anymore. It's just the voice that stays in your head after having been said or been treated that way for so long. I carry these things. I'm 28 years old and I still have vivid memories. I have a memory of someone and I can remember their name and where they live. And that sounds creepy, but that said to me that it was my fault that my dad didn't want to be in my life anymore, and that's why he wasn't there. And mind you, there was a whole gun violence and all this other stuff when it came to my dad. He put my life and my siblings and my mother at risk so many times. um it was just this weird conflicting feeling of like wanting a dad and wanting to be loved by a father, wanting someone to care and protect me, but also being terrified and having recurring nightmares every single night about that man. But the reason I just wanted a tangent on all of that is because it's so relevant, because a lot of these things, sometimes I have days where I'm still depressed. Days, it doesn't last forever. It comes and it hits me hard. And it made it, depression is not the right word. Where everything hits me. It's not the same as it was before. Depression is a whole different ballgame. But I dealt with that for most of my life. Up until like a couple of years ago when things started to get better and I started to get help. And I still have days or weeks where I'm just going through it. You know what I mean? Like I still get things done, but once I get things done, I could lay in my bed for a day. If I had the chance, I could lay in my bed for a couple. But I'm saying all this to say too, because you might think you're the only one who's like, you know, a freak. I don't know how else to describe it. You're not. Okay, let's get into it, babes. So, what am I proud of in these past couple of years? You know what? Let me just start off with yesterday. Yesterday, I made the most I had ever made in my business. I can't remember if I already said this, probably did. I'm going to sound like a parrot. Over $1,000 in a single day with a single client. Crazy. Housekeeping, Toronto. Now it's cleaning because it's commercial. I still do residential, but that was a commercial clean. Mind blown. But overall, let me tell you how it's gone, love. Because just a couple years ago, I started my housekeeping business, and in the first year, I paid off about $30,000 of debt. In about a year, like I said, about a year, $30,000 of debt. And then in about a year and a half to 2 years, I amassed nearly double that in savings as a housekeeper in Toronto. So, yes, I was keeping things cheap and whatever. The thing is, I already knew how to do this, but a lot of the time in the past, I was trying to buy people's love just to be straight up with you. And I was just depressed. And I was just like, probably gonna die anyway soon. And also, to be honest with you, I just avoided looking at my bank account at one point. And the funny thing is, I actually had one friend at the time. Um, I'm just thinking about her. And when I was younger, she was also a coworker, but then she became a good friend. And I still think of her. We don't stay in communication, nothing bad. It's just one of those things where you just have such fond memories of someone. And she told me when I got my first credit card, I don't know why I felt compelled to tell her, but she's like, I'm going to tell you not to go crazy with this credit card, but you're probably going to learn the hard way because you're a little stubborn. Do not do not rack this up. You will owe it back. And that is exactly what happened. And was it all stupidity? In a way, yes. Okay, I had no boundaries, but a lot of it too was having to provide, and we'll leave that there. A lot of my life, I don't know, I just never felt like I fit in. And another thing I'm proud of is last year, I took it on like a full-time job. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop lying to myself. I actually don't want to be Miss Independent anymore. I want a friend. I want to have a woman in my life that like I look to, she looks to me, like good or bad day, like let's chat. And I just wanted that love that comes from friendship, that platonic, beautiful love. And I found it in someone, and I just never would have imagined that for myself. I never would have imagined it. It truly feels God sent. And of course, you may have a different religion than me or anything. Babes, you're still welcome here. But I don't know. It just made me realize that there was such a hole. I never realized how profoundly something so simple as friendship could change my life. And let me show you something actually. I'm literally gonna cry just showing you this. So I'm not gonna show you the inside. Maybe I will. No, I won't. I'm gonna show you the picture. She hand painted this card for me. I want to show you the inside because she also hand painted the inside, but I don't want to show the message because it's just so personal and special. She took the time to hand paint. Oh, I'm just gonna share. Hand paint a card for me. And the funny thing is, I actually collect vintage and honestly cards from all years. I go to like thrift stores. I go to like when they're on sale at the end of the year at any store, I'll buy them. Like ones that I think are beautiful, I hand pick each. Like, it's just so special to me. And every year I write probably 100 Christmas cards. I write it for clients, for people who provide service to me, strangers, family, probably over 100. And I love doing it. And I'll light these candles that I have by my desk, and maybe I'll show you them at the end. I don't know. And I'll just write my heart out to each and every person. I'm just a kind of person who's filled with love. And sometimes I do a little doodle in them. I love stickers. I have stickers that I put on them. I just never had someone hand make me a card. A lot of the times, like even for my birthday and stuff, I don't really get a card. You know what I mean? But like I've actually started to get cards thanks to my wonderful partner and now fiance. So that's not fully true. But I guess I am so grateful for those cards and I love them. And I just realized, oh wow, like I found another special connection with my now incredible friend who I basically view as a sister. it's so simple with her, you know. And sometimes like if you have a similar background as me, why it's so significant for me is because I making friends and making relationships and actually trusting someone has never been something that has come easy for me ever. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't. You know, it's like someone who can barely write or like use their hands trying to create a masterpiece. They're just not an artist. You know what I mean? But it can be learned, but like, you know, to a certain extent. Anyways, okay, that's not even a good analogy. Okay. It's just been something that has just never come naturally to me. I'm not very trusting of people because they've done things to me, but I love people at the same time. I wouldn't even use any of the terminology like introvert, extrovert, blah, blah, blah. I love people. I'm kind with people and I enjoy my personal space. I enjoy it all. I need personal space more than I need having a lot of quantity of interactions with people. Like I enjoy working on my business. I also have my own small tiny little hobbies that I like to do. Um I like having time for myself. I like being able to read. I like being able to make my little cards and stuff. And I don't enjoy I'm like I don't go out often, I should say. So I'm 28 years old. I don't really go out often and I like living that way. I used to feel ashamed of it. So yeah, that's why it's so significant for me too, because she likes a lot of the same things as me. I've never experienced that before personally. I'm not saying that never existed in the world, but I never knew it could exist in the world because I had such a closed mind and I just wasn't privy to it. You know what I mean? I also didn't have the luxury of making friends when I was younger. I had to sacrifice a lot. I had to sacrifice myself in many ways. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's never something that I just even had the time to think about, and I don't really care. I have no regrets. It is what it is, but it's led to who I am now. I'm really happy with who I am. I'm happy with who I am in this friendship as well because it's bringing up many of my flaws, um, and the all the parts of me, even the ones that are not perfect, are being met with so much love and understanding by her. So yeah, and the same goes for her. You know. Okay, sorry. My phone just died, so I had to like set it up so we could get back on with the show. But like I said, it goes both ways. It really does. And I say all this to say that what seems like huge triumphs for me could be pennies in a jar for somebody else, but I'm not looking or trying to live like somebody else. I'm actually content with my life, which is something I never would have imagined. When I was younger, I was also told that depression was something that could not ever go away. Like it was just something you get used to. You live with it your whole life. And that made me not want to be here. I'm going to be very honest with you. And it was also a lie. So I don't know why they told me that. Mind you, I was not born in the Stone Age. I was given that um, little glimmer of hope about like 15 years ago, maybe a little bit less. So if you're feeling very iffy, very uncertain, very confused, very much like I didn't do a lot, or I did a lot of this, or I changed a lot of that, you're not a loser or a freak. Oh, another thing, like I was addicted to vaping for like a couple of months this year, and I quit that. That is very embarrassing, but I'm just going to be honest with you because it's very true. Like whatever's around you, you are more susceptible towards. And when I had moments of stress, I was like, "Ooh, I never bought one," but I was like leeching off of those around me like a little fiend. So, anyways, when it comes to thinking about 2026, life is life. You know, like this is gonna sound like one of those stupid freaking podcasts. You know what? Add a little stupidity to your life. Add a little fun. Make room for that. Make room for life. Please. Nothing is going to be perfect. You're going to make plans. Some of them are going to fall through. Some things are going to work better than you imagined if you give them the space and opportunity to, if you give yourself the chance. Make room for fun. You know, I feel like I had to, and I'm glad that I did. When I first started the business for the first year, I was working insane hours, sometimes like 8 a.m. to like 4 a.m. the next day, cleaning, no breaks, which is not healthy. But I did it for a year and it was very much worth it because the peace I felt after that was insane. But now that I am able to, I am taking breaks. And I also just want, I feel like I'm missing so many points with this video, but I also at one of my first ever solo trip this year, and I definitely want to make a video about that. I took a bunch of beautiful videos, and I felt the emotions of traveling alone. And I got engaged this year. Like, do you see what I mean? How we can just forget the most life-changing things that have happened. Take a moment to write them down. Even if you're wearing them, you could forget it. But another thing I do also is I have a little book. I'm like, I wish I could find it. A little book for my future child or children, and I had the people that I love and respect write in it. So my mother, I'm gonna get my siblings too. Um, I'm gonna get my fiance's grandparents to write in it. Who else have I had write in it? Anyone who matters to me, my friend I spoke of, everyone. It doesn't matter. Even if you're like, well, someone could not be in your life anymore. I'm not looking at life that way anymore. I don't care to do that. It's pointless. And I can't explain it, but there's just a knowing that comes in life when you've had many of the same experiences over and over again. I also do everything and put every measure in place to ensure I'm not done dirty. If someone exits my life, that is okay. But I am not anticipating that, because that would make the time I have with them suck. So anyways, sit for a moment and like look back at this year, dude. You've probably done so much that you actually forgot. Maybe go through your camera roll. If you're like me, you probably don't have photos of it, but maybe that's a reminder that you need to start like pen and paper by the bed. Pen and paper by the bed. Effective immediately. Notepad, scrap piece of paper. I don't care. Sometimes I have a bunch of thoughts before I go to bed too, and that's how I gotta release them, or I can't sleep because the little peanut in my head is just like bouncing around. You know what I mean? Like he's ready to go. And one last thing that I'm really excited about. So every year I take myself to Winners. This year I didn't get a candle. I regret that. But okay, I just couldn't find one I liked, honestly. Like I could find one that I liked for other people, but I couldn't find me in a candle. I'm very weird like that. Last year this was my choice at an agenda. And every year I do an agenda. Every stick in there. Oh my gosh, I didn't even use all the stickers. I used them. I think I'll pull these out honestly and I'll use them. They're really cute. It's scattered all over the floor, but I took the page that like they make for each month and they're double-sided, and I picked which side I like the best because I'm gonna make like a little collage board for above my monitor. I just bought my first ever computer this year and first ever monitor, and I learned what is the difference between both of them because I thought a computer was the screen. You know what I mean? Like these things, and then you could be like, that's so dumb. Why wouldn't you ever research it? Why would I research something I thought I knew with 100% certainty? Got you there. In high school, all I could afford was an iPod. So, and I couldn't afford it actually. I was gifted it. And that's what I used to do all my schoolwork. And then I would try to teach myself how to reformat it properly so I could submit things for school in the library before class or after class, depending on how things worked out, and then print it. So there's that. Anyways, I'm going to show you this year's, 2026's planner. Oh my gosh. I got it again, obviously Winners. Winners has like the most beautiful, it's a port wine with these straps. I need to show you my favorite pens before we get off this chatteroon. Okay, wait a second. Okay, I have darker ones, but sorry, they kind of fell everywhere. I have darker ones that show up better on paper, but these are from Temu, I don't know, and they just write so beautifully. And like, I just love everything about it. The stickers are laminated and it's gold. It's just beautiful. Oh my goodness, whoever made this. And then February's message: do more of what makes you happy. Like, I'm sorry, but like this is just so, let's just look at one more together. This is so speaking to what we just spoke about. Bloom where you are planted. And I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for cheesy things, corny things, whatever. I'm a cornball. Is that a crime? No, it's not. So, anyways, I love you. And, go into this year not trying to be your worst enemy, because I've done that before where it's like, I'm going grunge mode this year. I'm going off. I won't rest at all. And then, like, that's why people go back to what they were doing before. Like, honestly, with anything, if you want to exercise, you could start doing that now in the tiniest way possible. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to set a timer. I'm going for a walk outside for 1 minute. Literally. Start off so small that it's like, it's just too easy. You know what? This was so easy. I'm going to just do it for 2 minutes. Trust me, it freaking works, my dude. And, anyways, I love you. If you watched it this far, why don't you subscribe for more? Because I want to post videos of hope and realness. And honestly, like, besides the fact that I had to like make a second part to this video because my phone died, it's just gonna be me. Like, there's not gonna really be anything fancy about this because I don't know how to do fancy stuff. If I learn fancy stuff, you bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna start adding like the fancy edits just for fun, but for funsies. But like, honestly, I'm just more of a simple kind of person. So, ooh, one last thing. I feel like it's so fun when I randomly learn something from someone that like saves me money or makes life a little bit better or easier. If you use, doesn't matter what brand you get, just make sure it's like actual hydrocolloid. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If you use the pimple patches, which I've always been drawn to, and right now I'm on tretinoin, which has been actually like really amazing for my skin. But if you use pimple patches, the hydrocolloid ones, just buy hydrocolloid tape. It's like, I think I got that roll for like $14 to $16. That's equivalent probably to like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pimple patches. You can cut them into any size you want. You could literally, like, let's just say you had like a giant bunch of plush jewels here, like you could put it on there. You know what I mean? So it's really good. Yeah, it's a really good thing. And like, it just keeps me from like touching things. Also, like, if you're like, oh, it doesn't suck up anything, it can also keep you from wanting to touch it. I don't know about you, but like, the main issue with my acne, it's not just the fact that I don't want to see it, but I don't really mind. It is what it is. But it's the fact that it's painful or itchy or like the feeling of the oil, just everything. You know what I mean? If you have acne real bad. But anyways, I love you real good. Take care of yourself. Have a cup of tea or something. Make it a practice this year, if anything, to listen to you. You know what I mean? And that's part of why I deleted social media. Like I said, I might add it back in the future, but there's too many dang cooks in the kitchen of our brain nowadays, and they're not deserving of being there. And also, they don't know you. You know what I mean? If we all, the way that I look at things too, it's like, if we all followed the advice of what one person said and we all did exactly what they said, this world would crumble. We need the diversity of everyone, the understanding of everyone. Like, we need the melting pot of brains. I'm not getting my brain from TikTok. Love you. Bye.